Oemiega ken ezakigen manchidigamek kchinendana Anishinaabe Inuit Minawi Sakwedewinenok. Gbein gabe Jeweb Sewat Debach Mwinewa Mumpi a king nango Ishnakade Canada. Minwa Wikchituna we Nadin Mat Dankub Chignawan the Odenad Minwago Winwa and Sobebeshwat. Gitche hapitenda na eje che inenda rokakin nebe minwa kina be matsimgak minwa dim noe dinin moana anishnabeg mamuya wend moed gina nagdwend moat manda akke minwa gikend moat Wijgawit Tongetwa Nishnabek Chipitendagot Minwa Gane Abje Bzindmoa Abzindo Nanik Kane Abje Bzindo Nanik we ken mang wajimno Wijgawit Tongetwa Nishnabek Akin Minwa Nebe Minwa Kina Bematsimgak Minwa Wene Jishichigang Oemigaken ezakigen manchidigamgong no swamdana sawet do nokitagen mina temgak sa shwe dakimna gek sa nishnabek obajwan minok takansi bing minotashkog bing gash dashike chik gainwa oma gek sa Wisa Kudewe Ninok. Mampisa Robinson Huron Nakadek Nokad Midwid.
You can just do the official unveiling of the most beautiful artwork that we're proud to have. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ani bonjour, my name is Lucia Laford. I'm an Indigenous arts educator as well as a woodland style painter. I'm really happy to talk to you about this painting, and I'll talk about that design too. But before, I wanted to smudge. I know there's a lot of us here today, so I'm going to light it and maybe pass it to somebody, and then if you would like to smudge, you can maybe go over there. But the reason I wanted to start with smudging is because as a woodland style artist, all these paintings are about spirit, right? All of this is about our connection to the land, which is what you guys do too. And so I do that, but in a visual way and as a storyteller as well, right? So it's important that we start things in a good way for this part. So I have my smudge bowl. It's in an abalone shell. And then I have my white buffalo sage. This is sage that you can buy, and there's different teachings on that. But when you run out of sage that you pick, sometimes you have to buy sage too. So it's a pleasant smell. I love it, but I know sometimes people, like if you have allergies, it should be fine though. This is my torch lighter too, and I got it because sometimes I smudge outside and the other lighter doesn't suffice, right? But this gets it going, so. So when that smoke is going up, what I've been taught is that when that smoke is going up, it's going up to spirit world or Sky Nation, or there's many words for it, and we have this beautiful opportunity to take a moment for yourselves. There's many words about it, right? Some people talk about prayer, purification, grounding, meditation. There's a whole bunch of things, right? But for me, it's taking that moment for myself to, think about where I'm at. Maybe if I'm having a tough day, to take that moment with myself and to help. Sometimes I smudge my head to think about those good thoughts. Sometimes I do my heart to think about, receiving those good gifts, whatever that may be of that day, but also being able to not take the harsh gifts some people want to give. I do my eyes, I always do my hands, and then of course when I'm painting, I always do my artwork, I always do all my brushes, all my paints. It's really important that I start that in a good way, in a humble way. Because one of the things I wanted to talk about too, although this is my painting and people sometimes recognize it as my style, as a woodland style artist, none of the symbols that I'm going to talk to you about belong to me. They're all up there with the Creator, and it was a gift that was given to me that my dad taught me how to do as well. So when I'm bringing out these stories, it's that visual of our language, right? It's who we are, and so I like to share that about them, but also understand that none of this is mine, and I don't own any of it, right? Just like we don't own the land, we take care of it, right? So I'll put this over here. I'll put the lighter over there. When you're smudging, you can just, if someone holds the bowl, when you're smudging, you can take your 2 hands, you can bring it over your head. We can smudge after too, if everybody, like whatever you want, but I'll leave it lit. You can bring it to your eyes, you can bring it to your nose, your mouth, so you see and smell and say good things. You can bring it to your heart, you can do your hands. There's no wrong way to smudge, and it's not, from what I've been taught, it's not religious at all. It's a spiritual thing, and anybody can partake in that smudge. So maybe I'll just leave it over here. Oh yeah, you could walk around with it. Yep, totally. Here, I'll give you a lighter too, just in case. It's pretty heavy duty. And then after I'll explain everything, and then I wanted to share a song with you guys. Okay, so I'll start maybe with this drawing. When they approach, so I've done a few different orange shirts for different organizations, and to me, it's really important that an organization tells me what they want, so that way it's not just me going, okay, here's what I think. So we had many a great meeting about how to collaborate together. So when looking at this design, first of all, they gave me a beautiful package with, the diamond shape and the colors, right? And I was like, okay, this is great. This is very helpful. And I went over your website and I read what makes you guys and the work that you do. And it's a beautiful organization. I appreciate all the work that you guys do. It's so important. So for this design, the diamond shape was from the branding package, and I was like, this is a very cool shape to work with. And in it gives you like a window, right? And so when I'm thinking about Every Child Matters, I'm thinking about us as families and as community and what it takes to protect our children, right? What it takes to think of all the residential school survivors, the Indian day school survivors, the 60 scoop survivors, all these children, right? And so that's why we have a figure here. We have someone, with a smaller person, so maybe a child, right? So that's representing family, community. In the way I do woodland style art, like my dad, they're not necessarily people with a sex, right? They could be men or women or boys or girls or anything else, right? So they're on that spectrum, right? And then they're there together. The one hand is reaching down. So in woodland style art, you might notice the two lines coming out of the face. Okay, that's pretty predominant in woodland style art. You might see some slanted down, you might see some slanted up or crooked or all over the place. But those lines are where the mouth is, right? Some people talk about lips, some people talk about communication. But in woodland style art, it really lends itself to this black line, right? This black and white line drawing. Because as you'll notice in this one too, everything is outlined in black. And so the black is really, really important. It talks about that connection between everything. So the lines that are coming out of the mouth, that's one way to connect to everything else. Sometimes you'll see woodland style artists, have big lines coming out, right? So there's different things. What some people say, children ask me, oh, are they speaking, right? Children know that when something is coming out of the mouth area, that means communication. So when you see those lines in other woodland style paintings, think about that too. So that's what those are. And then their eyes, right, are there, and then their hair is coming down. And then we come up to the stars. So the stars for me are very important. And so what my dad had taught me was that those stars can represent our ancestors and represent that spirit world, the sky nation, right? Creator and everything up there. And so when I'm thinking about those stars, I'm thinking about our connection to the past. I'm thinking about our connection to the future. I'm thinking about our journey as people, right? It's pretty short, our journey, right? And so I'm thinking about that medicine wheel and all the time it takes you to travel, from a child to an elder, right? And so the stars for me are that connection to doing things in a good way for all the generations in the future and all our ancestors that have come before us. And whether you're indigenous, settler, immigrant, all of us, right, have ancestors. So it's important that we're honoring the earth, you know, for hopefully lots of generations to come. Who knows, right? The way we're going. But then on the other side, we have a tree. So you guys are the Invasive Species Center, and trees. This tree is important to me because it has roots going down. So the roots are reaching down and they're actually touching the hand of the child. So the roots, I draw a lot of roots in a lot of my pictures, and the roots talk about our connection again to Mother Earth. So I think about Mother Earth being this beautiful, there's too many words to describe it. It's like this beautiful connection we all have. So those roots are reaching down, and that child is reaching out to the roots, and we're protecting that, and we're protecting, and in whatever way you do it, but we're protecting that beautiful connection and remembering our obligations to protect that. So Chief Dean Sayers talks a lot about our obligations as people, as Anishinaabe, to the land and to protect the water and the land and all the species that are here, and to remember those teachings, right? Because sometimes we forget and get caught up in our day-to-day lives. So for me, that's what those roots represent, and that child touching those roots, and then that tree bending over. So, and then there's a space in the middle for every child matters. So that's what this design is about, and it's really cool to see everybody wear it. It's a little like, whoa, you know, but it's awesome. Then I just wanted to explain this painting. So again, these colors are the invasive species colors that I got in the package. I was like, these are great colors to work with. And the reason I had drawn such a big turtle is because, you know, we thought maybe you could put text in there when you're you know, on a slide or something. But so for woodland style art, I'll just give you a couple teachings about it, but it's important that we're never really looking at reality. We're looking at the connection we have with our heart, with our spirit, with everything else that really matters more than what we're seeing with our eyes. So it's more the idea of something. So we talked about, again, all the things that are important to the Invasive Species Center, and that's when I came with this painting, and I tried to think of all the work that you guys do. So I'll start on this. Again, we have the stars up top, right? Thinking about our ancestors and thinking about those connections and our star teachings. So there's many. We have maybe colonial looking at stars like Scorpio. I don't know, all those constellations. But it's important to remember that the constellations, that when you look up here on this land, our constellations are named differently, right? So when you're here, literally standing on this land, when you look up at those stars at night, they have different names, and so they're very important to think about too, and how we lived with those constellations and still do. So on this side we have that tree, and then that tree is what's coming down and grounding that root line. So that root line is then connecting up to this person over here. So everything in the piece is connected. So over here I put those 4 circles. They're there because I was thinking of rocks and how they play in such an important role. So grandfathers, Mishomisuk and Nokumisuk, the grandfathers and grandmothers, and how they play a healing role, you know, in ceremony and in life too. Then we have 2 figures here, and they're watching from that tree, and they're just watching all of creation and what's happening. Over here we have a bear, and then this bear has a couple circles in it. Those are, I was thinking like berries, and that connection that that bear has to those berries. And as a reminder to us, you know, what we eat, where we live, where we are, that matters, and our connection to how we eat and our food sovereignty as Indigenous people is very important, and how the ecosystem, how all those things eat, right? And then we go up to a whole bunch of flowers. Those are species that are native to this area. I do that, I try to incorporate that a lot in my work, species that are from here. I say Ontario, but that's just because the guidebooks generally say like Ontario, not because I necessarily think about those borders. So I have strawberries, blueberries. Those berries are very important medicines. Strawberry flowers. I have hepatica and a bloodroot and a goldenrod and a coneflower. And I was thinking about the butterflies too, and how, you know, the many important roles that they play. and it comes over here to this sturgeon. So this sturgeon, I incorporated it, and I put it a lot in my work because it reminds us to take care of our Great Lakes. Specifically, like we're right here on the water. It's pretty awesome. And I think about its role in protecting the water and how they continue doing that, and how we forget about protecting the water, but how that water is that lifeblood, right, going out. And the Great Lakes watershed is so giant, it's crazy, right? You guys know. And how it's our role to protect that beautiful lake. I mean, I love Lake Huron too, but Lake Superior is very special, right? Lake Superior is such an incredible lake, and I am sure everybody has spent time on that lake, but the spirituality and it's just a beautiful lake. So that's that reminder there, and then we come over here, and then there's this person, and then they're smoking a pipe. So this pipe, out of the pipe is coming the turtle, the sturgeon, right? They're all connected back to each other. And so for me, that pipe is a reminder of ceremony and a reminder to not just make room for Indigenous knowledge, but to center Indigenous knowledge and remember that the way that we have done things here is equally as important as the work that you guys do. And that we can create something really beautiful together. And so that is a reminder to me of our knowledge holders and our ceremonial people and our just anybody Anishinaabe, right, that is trying to, whether they're just surviving, right, and understanding that survival is something that sometimes just has to happen, right, when oppression happens for so long and continues to happen, or those people that are thriving, right, there's room for all of us Anishinaabe people here and many other nations, right? So that's to me what that pipe carrier is, and they're holding out that pipe to creation, right? And then lastly, we have that turtle, and that turtle is just above. You know, we have 8 species of turtle in Ontario. Like, I know you guys know. I love turtles. They're I paint them a lot too, and there's many teachings about them. And so for this turtle, if you count, there's 28 little plates around it, and that's just a reminder of our calendar, our teachings about the 28 days around each moon. So when you look at, if there was plates here that I had painted, there would be 13 different moons, and then the 28 days around each moon. So Chimigwich, that's this painting. Yeah, and that design. And then I just wanted to sing you a song real quick, if that's okay. Oops. And so the reason I like to sing whenever I'm presenting or doing anything is because I'm trying to speak from my heart always, right? And this drum is about that heartbeat, and it's my sacred item that I carry in my bundle, and it comes with me everywhere. So when I was painting this, drawing that, my drum was with me. When I speak to people, my drum is with me. And again, it's not an instrument, it's something that I carry and I take care of. And so I'm honoring this drum and the spirit, right? The heartbeat in all of us, right? So I'm going to sing. I try to never plan it and just trying to think about what song comes up. And for me, it's a lot of the time this one song that my dad had really, really liked. And so the reason I talk about my dad is because his name was John LaFord, and he was a woodland style artist. And so I owe, my existence and as a woodland style artist to him and all that he taught me. So this was his favorite song, and we used to sing it together on the waterfront, actually. So, and this song talks about being grateful for that good life, among other things. It's so warm in here, it sounds really nice. Amigwechwenda be marezewen. 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 Acknowledgement, be mares win. Acknowledgement, be mares